Step outside in Oymyakon, Siberia, and you hear a strange sound, like dry grass brushing against your boots. That is the sound of your own breath. Warm vapor from your lungs instantly freezes, shattering into thousands of microscopic ice crystals in the air. At -71 degrees Celsius, the environment reaches a threshold where human biology cannot sustain itself. Spending just 15 extra minutes exposed to this level of cold triggers the beginning of cellular destruction. As your body heat drops, the water molecules inside your individual cells form jagged ice crystals. These crystals expand as they freeze, eventually rupturing the cell walls from the inside out and causing the tissue to die. Because we cannot survive this environment naturally, life in Oymyakon depends entirely on engineering an artificial barrier against the outside world. This is Oymyakon, a village deep in the Siberian wilderness and the coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth. The geography acts as a cold trap. The village sits in a mountain basin where the lack of wind allows dense, freezing air to settle in the valley and remain there for months at a time. Directly beneath the village is permafrost, a layer of earth and ice that stays frozen year-round, reaching depths of hundreds of meters. Living here requires more than just thick clothing. Because the extreme temperature causes standard modern infrastructure to fail, the village has to function on a completely different mechanical operating system. Standard plumbing is impossible in Oymyakon. You cannot run water through underground pipes, because the liquid would freeze and shatter the lines almost instantly. To get clean water, residents must locate spring-fed sections of the river that remain liquid. They use chisels to carve out massive blocks of ice, which are then hauled back to their homes on sleds. Every liter of water used for drinking, cooking, or the village's 5-hour bathing rituals comes from melting these heavy ice blocks by the heat of a stove. This lack of running water creates a second logistical problem: the absence of a sewage system. Toilets are unheated wooden cabins built in the gardens. Because human waste freezes the moment it is exposed to the air, it accumulates into solid frozen pillars that can reach heights of 2 meters before they are manually broken down. Without the luxury of plumbing, the basic requirements of hydration and hygiene become an exhausting daily labor for survival. Construction is equally difficult. You cannot pour a standard concrete foundation on permafrost, as the shifting ice would eventually crack and destroy the base. Homes are instead built on thick wooden beams that create a flat, floating base to keep the structure from sinking into the frozen ground. To keep the interior warm, the walls are built with 7 distinct layers, including basalt wool, foam insulation, and double layers of plaster sandwiched between wooden panels. Heat is provided by a central coal-powered boiler. It pumps hot water to every home through a network of heavily insulated pipes that run entirely above the ground to avoid the permafrost. Residents also utilize the cold as a resource. The entrance rooms of the houses are left unheated, serving as a natural deep freeze for storing raw meat and milk. This engineering transforms a house into an insulated life support capsule, though it remains entirely dependent on the village's central heating grid to stay habitable. Mechanical engineering also fails here. If a car engine is turned off for more than a few hours, the oil, fuel, and metal components freeze into a single solid mass. The cold triggers a physical contraction of the air molecules inside the tires. This causes the air pressure to drop so sharply that even a perfectly sealed tire goes flat against the snow. Thawing a frozen vehicle requires a 3-hour process, using a portable jet heater to pump hot air directly into the engine and fuel tank. Because standard transportation is unreliable and the ground is unfarmable, the local diet consists almost entirely of nutrient-dense, raw frozen meat and fish. When machines fail, the village relies on local livestock, like the Yakudian horse. Its short stature and thick fur are biological adaptations that allow it to live outdoors in -70 degrees without shelter. Survival in Oymyakon means choosing biological resilience and labor-intensive workarounds over the fragile convenience of modern mechanical systems. The ultimate law of this village is that you must remain in motion. If you stop moving in this level of cold, you die. This is visible in the local hunting traps. When an animal like a hare or a wolf is caught, it isn't the trap that kills it. It is the freezing air that takes over once the animal can no longer move to stay warm. Most modern civilizations attempt to conquer the environment by paving over it and controlling the temperature. The Yakut people take the opposite approach. They don't fight the environment, they respect its limits and follow its rules. Living here is not an act of human dominance. It is a calculated adaptation, an engineering of a life that fits precisely within the brutal parameters nature allows.